still happens every single year. You look at the numbers, 14,000 people hurt, 11 people killed. How do we infuse some common sense? And again, I'm not trying to be rude at all, but how do we kind of get people to just don't look down there? Bring some water. I mean, do the basic things.
Practice. I would venture to say most times, and this is not scientific in any way, but a lot of times it's young people operating this stuff and really training them to make sure that they don't put themselves and don't look down don't put your face down at the firework.
Right.
Don't hold it in your hand.
Right.
I remember those Roman candles. Man.
Oh, I'm sure you did some things you weren't supposed to.
I did do some things I
right,
wasn't supposed to. We held those things. I mean, dangerous as heck, man. So you train people, you train them young, and you teach them. Like my boys, they watch me light the fireworks.
Yep.
They're at a safe. I keep them way back, and I'm lighting them. I'm making sure that I'm doing it, slowly, methodically, and so it's
they
really
watch the old man bend over a little bit in his back hurts.
Right, because I can't go fast, so I can't get out of there I can't bail too fast, so it's a thing where you just teach them, and you get these practices. Have that water hose available, have the bucket available, just do these things. It's practice.
Right.
Practice.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's talk water safety too, because water is a huge thing all summer long, but especially this holiday weekend. We'll see a lot of drownings, unfortunately. We'll see a lot of people that get rescued. Again, this stuff kind of goes back to common sense a little bit, but what do you do? How do you try to stay safer when you've got your friends, your family, your kids around the water?
Life vest.
No matter how uncool it looks.
No matter how uncool it looks. Yeah. Life vest. I mean, that is the biggest thing. And then alcohol doesn't. It's one thing to have a drink. It's another to be excessive. And so really talking about the idea of again, it's just practice. It's like, hey, man, we can have fun, designate people to do things, and one person you're operating that watercraft, you got to be the sober one.
Right.
And making sure that, just even in a party, that there's somebody that's monitoring everybody else. All right, man, push this back. That's enough.
Yeah, dial it back a little bit.
Dial it back.
Yeah.
And again, the life vest is just no matter how uncool it looks.
I remember being a kid like, I don't need this.
Yeah,
or
man.
always having that false sense of security. Like, I can swim, I'm fine.
That's one of the biggest things, is that false sense of security. So making sure that you can swim, but the current may not be in your favor.
That's it, too, is those currents people underestimate every single time, and you don't know how fast they can move.
Absolutely. So, just conveying that. It's just important. Really
All right, Darnell, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time
Thanks
today.
for letting me hang with the Nick Monticelli.
Here in the Nook. We love the Nook.
Right, I made it, finally. Thanks, Mom. I made it. You see it?
All right, we are halfway through 2025, and for some, that actually means we're closer to Christmas. Who wrote this? Mary? All right, let's take a look over the North Pole. Many are actually getting their start on their holiday shopping. There's actually a reason for it, though. We're looking at some of the items you might want to consider buying now rather than waiting later and spending more. Hey, everybody, welcome back here to Local 4 Live, 8:43 on your Wednesday morning. Even though Christmas is 5 months away, financial experts are warning now is the time to start shopping, believe it or not. According to financial reports, the cost of dolls, stuffed animals, and games is up 2.2%. That is because roughly 75% of toys come from China, which is currently taxed 30% on all incoming goods. So Shantae Passmore now has a list of the items you can check off before tariffs could drive prices even higher.
Hey there, we're inside the Veterans Thrift Store in Roseville. It's been open close to 3 years and already it's seeing a demand for baby items. We're talking about strollers, bassinets, clothing, but there are also some other things you wouldn't expect here, like baby formula and baby diapers. Hear why supply chain experts say now is the time to buy and has nothing to do with the price. Shoppers feeling the squeeze.
Honestly, we've just been trying to eat out less and like meal prep.
And getting creative.
I bake, I meal prep, I look for the bargains.
While most Michiganders are focused on the day-to-day spending, it might be time to think ahead.
And so when you start thinking about what items you want to buy, take something like kids' toys for the Christmas season, that's when I'd pull your purchases up a little bit sooner, simply because the specific items you want may not be there in the quantities that you're expecting this year.
In other words, supply chain experts warn the biggest speed bump for Santa won't be the staggering prices, but a reduction in product variety and assortment. Holiday decor could also be affected, but it's not just discretionary spending we're talking about. Large appliances and baby items too. I just like how you have it set up. It's like you're at a store.
Yes.
And that's how you want it. Sandy Bauer walks us through the Veterans Thrift Store. The proceeds benefit the nonprofit she founded to help unhoused veterans. Vets returning home. She describes the inventory as high-quality items, some gently used, while others brand new. The store often slashes prices below big box stores, relief for families, especially for those just starting off. What's a deal for shoppers is also a lifeline for those who've served our nation.
And I can't think of a segment in our population that is more deserving and in more trouble. That's the thing. Our veterans are really struggling and they need our support.
It's a win-win all the way around.
All the way around.
So the takeaway, don't wait for those doorbuster deals. If you see something, buy it now. And speaking of steals and deals at the Veterans Thrift Store here in Roseville, like these toddler shoes, they normally go for $25 online. Just checked moments ago. But here, $8.99. We're in Roseville. I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shantae, thank you much. The EPE and Eagle will be monitoring the cleanup of that industrial fire on Detroit's east side, according to Oveda Specialty Services. They're sealing sewers and removing all the oils there. Environmental officials will make sure the cleanup is safe. The Detroit Fire Marshal's office is taking over the investigation to figure out how the fire started. Hockeytown and the NHL mourning the passing of Hall of Famer Alex Delvecchio. We can get to that video in just here in a moment. Delvecchio died on Tuesday at 93. He spent his 24-year-long career with the Wings, 12 of those as a captain. He won 3 Stanley Cup titles during the 1950s, and his number 10 was retired in 1991. He was named one of the top 100 greatest NHL players in 2017. We saw it a moment ago. We're going to show it again. A live look over at Mackinac Island this morning. The Michigan Senate looking to control the prices to ferry to the island. The Senate voted to help the island control the prices of the ferry. It would let the island regulate fees for ferry rides, baggage, early boarding, and parking on the mainland. This comes after a legal fight with the Hoffman family, who owns the ferry services. The company says the price increases help pay for ferry upgrades. The bill still needs approval from the House and a signature from Governor Whitmer. A live look now at downtown, the skyline, thanks to our friends over in Windsor. Nope, that's Little Caesars Arena. That's okay. We're talking about them all day long, and there is your skyline. We're going to look back with a bit of weather history that happened nearly 30 years ago. What's next? Welcome back, everybody. Take a look at this photo on this day back in 1997. Wow, that was almost 30 years ago. Oh, my gosh. Well, back then, the state of Michigan saw its biggest tornado outbreak in history. 13 of them touched down, ranging from small to powerful F2 and F3 storms throughout Oakland County and the Detroit Highland Park area. This is an image from NOAA showing what the radar looked like on that day when those storms hit. Now, this is video from our Local 4 vault showing the destruction that the tornadoes left behind on that day. Unbelievable how much damage can happen in such a short amount of time, too. I mean, you and I have been covering these. You cover them much better than I do, but I have to go and check out the devastation and destruction left behind. And every single time, and I almost seem like a broken record when I say it, but it's just so incredible to see what happens so quickly, right? And that's the problem, because I think people don't realize how fast it comes.
How quickly they spin up. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Hello?
maybe?
Oh, there we go. So, yeah, how quickly they spin up. I think when I've covered tornado damage, what just blows my mind is what doesn't get touched and what does. Like, for instance, like I remember covering a house that was hit and the entire garage, all the walls gone.
Right.
But everything inside the garage was just as it was, including a glass, like, reindeer figurine from Christmas that, like, they just had in their garage. And it was there,
Really?
not even touched.
Yeah.
You know, and you see that with, like, kitchens and things where, like, roofs get blown off, but, like, every kitchen plate and the china
Yeah,
in there, like,
yeah.
not touched. So, yeah, there is just something, you know.
I recall talking to neighbors who would get frustrated because their home is gone.
Right.
But right next door, no damage at all.
Yeah, it is one of those just kind of mysterious, like, weather phenomenon, you know, like, because it's just so sporadic on what gets damaged. And then there are also, like, those paths where I-96, you know, you can still see from 2 years ago the tornado that rolled, you know, just, you know, outside of Lansing.
Right.
So, yeah, hopefully we don't see any kind of weather like that today. There's a marginal risk for a stronger storm, but really tornadoes aren't on the table. These are going to be those downbursts that bring those crazy winds, and which can create damage too. But, you know, we could go on and on about that. So 71 degrees in Mount Clemens right now, 69 at Metro Airport and Ann Arbor, 72 in Monroe. And we do have clear skies. Now, we have been following that cold front that was in our region just 2 days ago, and that is creating quite a bit of rain and storms off in the East Coast. And I just point that out because the Tigers should be playing in D.C. Game got postponed, and you still see that there's still quite a bit of weather in the D.C. area. So precipitation chances for us really isolated over the next 2 days, but still heightened from a very calm day. We have a better chance of more active weather come Sunday evening and beyond. But as far as that chance for today, if you see something bubble up, it would be damaging wind gusts and heavy rain. And that's going to be mainly north of I-94 where that marginal risk is. Come tomorrow, we push that risk down into our southwestern communities. But let me show you what we're tracking here. I swapped out one of our models. We have 2 different high-resolution models that we look at. And this one is just a smidge more robust come 4 o'clock with a few of those scattered showers. And they're right in line with where the Storm Prediction Center would have them bubbling up, and that's north of I-94. But you see very scattered variety and a little bit more pronounced later on this evening into the Thumb region. Then as we go through tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, and there's that chance for a couple little isolated showers to be bubbling up in that southwestern part that I showed you that's under that level 1 marginal risk tomorrow for tomorrow evening. And so I just thought that that model really did align with what the Storm Prediction Center's outlook is for the chance for stronger storms. 86 for the afternoon high today. We get in the 80s right around the lunch hour, so that afternoon planner, it's 4 o'clock onward that you have those isolated chances, but we will be topping out in the 80s. Tonight, falling back in the 60s, mostly clear, less humid. Open the windows, unless you're like me and you forgot last night. Well, you can do that again tonight. Tomorrow, 87 for the afternoon high. And a quick look at your 4th of July holiday. Flirting with 90 Friday, but we get in the low 90s Saturday and Sunday. At least the 4th is going to be dry for all the outdoor festivities. Oh, they cut off my 7-day forecast. But yeah, we will be.
That's the crew saying we're out of time, I guess.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we'll let you. I was just going to say, after the 90s this weekend, we get in the mid-80s, which is where we should be as we go into
and
next
some
week.
storms possible.
Yeah, it's summer.
Thanks. All right. Ashley, thank you much. The Erie Seawolves have been given a new name. Who are they? Well, they're the AA affiliate for the Detroit Tigers, so now you care, right? A live look here at Erie, Pennsylvania. The story behind the newly named Moon Mammoths and why John Oliver has something to do with it. If I can say his name. Oliver. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, 8:55 here. A minor league team with the Detroit Tigers getting a new name thanks to comedian John Oliver. During Sunday night's episode of Last Week Tonight, he officially announced what the new name for the AA Erie Seawolves would be. Take a listen.
Can't keep a good mammoth down. Erie, are you ready? Because this ancient purple beast is all about two things: eating whatever it is mammoths ate, and playing baseball. And he's all out of whatever it is mammoths ate. It's time to see what all the fuzz is about. Let's play ball.
Say hello to the Erie Moon Mammoths. The name is a tribute to the discovery of the woolly mammoth remains in Lake Pleasant back in 1991, found by a scuba diver named George Moon. I can't tell if it's a joke or not. Sometimes you never know with John Oliver. Well, coming up here in the next hour, the jury in the Diddy sex trafficking case returns in about 3 minutes to pick back up again. We're keeping a close eye on those deliberations after learning yesterday they had reached a partial verdict. Plus, we're talking about some life hacks that will save you money. And my conversation with Arn Tellem, the vice chairman of the Detroit Pistons, continues. With the WNBA returning to Detroit, we talk about the popularity of that league and why it has so much more to do or less to do with Caitlin Clark. More news and weather in our next hour here on Local 4 Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. We have breaking news from Detroit's east side where there's a large police scene. We're going to take you live there in just a moment. It's all happening near 8 Mile and Sherwood. That's on Detroit's east side near Van Dyke. Now, we're getting an update from police. Let's listen.
Male, he was shot in the upper chest. Everything at this point is pointing toward non-life-threatening injuries. Our perpetrator, male, black, in his mid-50s is what we're being told, heavy set, black baseball cap, white t-shirt. He ran back down westbound 8 Mile and then crossed behind me. Was attempted twice to get picked up by someone. The second individual picked him up, took him to the area of Mound and Davison where he got out. We have good still photos of him. We're going to get that to you as soon as we can get those to you. Again, we are looking for a black male in his mid-50s. Don't know what started it. It does not look like there was any kind of physical altercation. He stood up and fired one time, striking our victim.
Did the victim know that person at all?
At this point, we don't know.
So it seems that he tried to hitchhike a couple of times and got successful on the second try?
Yeah, we believe he probably cut his hand when he jumped the fence back here, so he had some blood on his hand, so the first person looked at him and gave him the big no. The second person did pick him up, dropped him off in the area of Mound and Davison.
Have you spoken to that second driver, or are you still...
We are talking to him now.
Did they know that person at all?
We do not know, no.
If they did know that person,
correct, we don't know.
Charges or get you in trouble?
Yeah, absolutely. If you tried to aid and abet, but it seems like it was just an unwitting at this point, just picked him up to give him a ride.
Just a little random, something random act or...
Yeah, it's too early to tell. It's odd that he just stood up, walked over toward him and shot one time. Does not look like there was any kind of altercation, so we don't know.
Was the weapon left behind at all?
No. No, he did leave some of his belongings behind me by one of those trailers. It's a backpack. We're waiting for evidence techs to collect it. We're hoping it's got ID in there and the stuff that we would like so we can get him in custody as quickly as possible.
What's your message to the public? It seems like he may still have the firearm. He's out on the streets. You guys are trying to get a hold of him. What would you say?
If you know him, once we get the photo out, if you know him, please call us. If you know something, say something. There was a total of probably, including the bus driver, 6 people on that bus. And it's just a danger to everyone. What I also will tell the community is that you can expect a lot more bus boardings from the Detroit Police in the next few hours even. We have a transit unit. We took over the DDOT system as far as a public safety aspect, but we're going to add to that, add capacity. You're going to see random bus boardings. We're going to do our absolute best not to delay anything. We're going to get on, we're going to ride for a bit and get off. We got to make sure it's safe. You know, from the stabbing on the bus last night, just now to this, it's just too much. This is our main public set of transportation for our folks to get to and from, and we got to keep it safe for them.
Any idea where the suspect and victim got on the bus and how long they've been on the bus?
We don't know yet. Too early to tell.
Was there cameras on the bus?
Yes. Yep. And that's already been pulled, so we're extracting that, and that's how we'll get our photos for you.
Can you talk about the stabbing from last night and how that's another situation on the bus that you're dealing with?
Yeah, just briefly, that's a little bit different. That one appeared to be an argument over the fare itself, and the individual that was turned away spat on the bus driver, and the bus driver in turn pulled out a knife and stabbed him. And again, it's a difficult way to resolve conflict. We don't want to pull out, just let him get off the bus and go away. Now this bus driver is going to face charges for his actions.
Where did that happen?
That happened in the 9th Precinct up on 7 Mile and Gratiot area.
You're on what time?
Yeah, it was about 6:18 in the evening. Yeah.
And then in this latest incident, did the bus driver notice anything like happening beforehand, or just sudden, like out?
Nothing. He heard a pop. Yeah, that was it. It's just an odd situation where he just stood up and fired a shot at him.
Did it happen?
The victim right now?
Our victim is temp serious.
Second?
He's temp serious?
Temp serious.
Yep.
Did it happen right where that bus is now? How
Yes.
long did they drive?
Right there. They were actually waiting to get across the bus stop, the railroad tracks.
Wow.
Yeah. Good.
Transported by EMS or?
Ooh, I don't know. EMS or?
I imagine.
We'll get you the answer to that. All right. Thanks, all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, that's an update from one of the commanders from the Detroit Police Department on a shooting that happened on a DDOT bus in the area of 8 Mile and Van Dyke not long ago. What he was saying is that a male was shot in the chest with non-life-threatening injuries, but he added that it appears to be a random shooting, calling it odd because there was no fight between anybody, at least that the 6 people that were on the bus knew of, saying or adding that the bus driver simply heard a pop, which would have been the gunshot, and didn't hear any kind of yelling or arguing before that happened. Again, it happened on a DDOT bus near Mound and Davidson, which again is kind of the 8 Mile and Van Dyke area on a DDOT bus. Then the commander also alluded to a stabbing that happened on another DDOT bus yesterday at about 6 o'clock in the evening at 7 Mile and Gratiot. That sounded like it was more of an argument kind of situation. They're working to get more information on that one as well. But with this now second issue on a DDOT bus in less than 24 hours, the commander is saying that we should expect a larger police presence on DDOT buses in the near future because of these 2 issues and maybe others. They'll be boarding, checking things out, maybe riding for a while. As he mentioned, the DDOT bus system is the #1 public transit system for the Detroiters to get around, so they're going to do what they can to add more security there. But again, a male shot in the chest, non-life-threatening injuries, but now they are looking for a suspect who apparently tried to get a ride from one person. That person saw blood in the hands and said no and kept driving, and then got into a second vehicle where I say then was dropped off at Mound and Davidson as I'm looking at my notes here. So the shooting happened on a bus near 8 Mile and Van Dyke, and then that suspect got taken to the Mound and Davidson area. So if you happen to know anything or see anything suspicious in the area, please call the Detroit Police Department. But most importantly, the victim, that appears, is going to be okay. We're going to move on to the rest of our newscast here on Local 4 Live, starting with some headlines we've been following throughout this hour. Could we get a verdict in Diddy's sex trafficking trial? The jury just started deliberating again after revealing yesterday they were close, but there's a long way to go there. But we are also talking about 99 ways to help save you money. We can't get to all 99 of them, but we're going to get to a few of them. An expert is going to join us to reveal some life hacks for saving on things like summer vacations. And my conversation with the Pistons vice chairman of the Pistons continues. Arn Tellem, I talked with him about the popularity of the WNBA as it's now returning to Detroit, and the Caitlin Clark effect, which he didn't shrug off, but said that they have been looking at expanding long before she became popular. Let's start, though, this morning over in New York City. At this moment, the jury in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial is back deliberating. They started or were scheduled to start at 9 o'clock this morning. You're looking live right now at the New York City courthouse. Yesterday, the jury told the judge they have reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts. The judge saying those counts are the 2 counts of sex trafficking and 2 of transportation to engage in prostitution. But the judge said the jury had not been able to reach a verdict on the racketeering conspiracy charge. That's the one that could put him in prison for life. We'll keep an eye on this one, let you know if there are any developments from New York City throughout the morning here. It's also a very big day on Capitol Hill. As we look there live now, the House is working on President Donald Trump's sweeping budget bill after the Senate narrowly passed it yesterday. The chamber could hold a procedural vote today. Republican lawmakers can only spare 3 votes. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he wants a final vote by tomorrow so the president can sign the bill by his self-imposed July 4th deadline. Here in Michigan, the state legislature has missed its own deadline for setting a state budget. Lawmakers are at odds over school funding. Missing the deadline has real consequences for school districts, though, which need to know what their funding is going to be to set their own budgets before the school year begins. A short time ago, we talked with Republican Representative Mark Tisdale from the Rochester area and Democratic Senator Darren Camilleri from Wayne County.
For us, the proposal that we put forth and passed out of the state Senate was one that included record per pupil funding, as well as key investments in the free breakfast and lunch program, at-risk funding, special education, career and technical programs, which we're very proud of and very excited to have passed out of the Senate. The proposal that we saw from the House Republicans about 2 weeks ago was one that basically completely changed the funding model and put a lot of schools on notice that they would be responsible for more of these types of programs and services. So even though we are spending a lot of money in either bill, whether it was the Republican bill or the Democratic bill, the way that you send out this money from the state in both versions is completely different. So I think that there are some major sticking points here on how to actually get to a deal that schools can understand and have the resources that they know will be secured by the time that school starts. I just think that we've got some major differences here that we have not been able to resolve by this July 1st deadline.
I agree with the senator that we passed a bill weeks ago that's over in the Senate right now. Each bill passed totals about $22 billion. It's how it goes out to the schools. Theirs is about $10,000 per student. Ours is $12,000 per student. Theirs is loaded with prescribed spending, what school districts must spend the money on. Ours creates much more flexibility, allows each school district to determine what's best for theirs. The at-risk funding, the funding for lunches for needy kids, that's all there. We're just giving much more discretion to the local school districts, allow them to apply the state money as needed in their district instead of determined by Lansing.
Now, there really is no penalty for missing that deadline, but lawmakers have 3 months to reach a compromise before the next fiscal year begins on October 1st. But as we mentioned, school districts need to know right now. Well, inflation has been such a key concern for many of us for several years now that tariff battles are in the mix. Saving money could be even more critical than ever. We're going to talk with an expert about 99 great ways to save some money. That expert is David Brindley. He's a deputy director of the AARP Bulletin. And David, we can't talk all 99. We don't have all day long. But let's start with a couple of easy things, maybe some quiet day habits that could save people more money than they realize.
Sure, this might be surprising, but even when your appliances are turned off, and if they're still plugged in, they're wasting electricity. So we recommend that you unplug those appliances, and you can save up to 10% every single day. Another way to save on a daily basis is to lower your water temperature from, say, 140 degrees to 120 degrees. Over the course of a year, you're likely to save up to $400.
Wow, okay. That's an easy one, though. All I have to do is dial it back. In your experience in working on the Bulletin, what are some of the key spending mistakes that people are making?
Well, one thing is, one thing that I do myself is to always check my receipts before I leave a store. Because if you need a refund, you can get an immediate refund. So not doing that, you can just lose money on a daily basis.
We've talked a lot about the necessities left, things you don't have a choice on buying. Groceries, certainly one of them. Is there any way that we can save a couple of bucks or maybe even more at the grocery store?
Absolutely. Here's a really good tip. So stores tend to put the priciest items right at eye level. So it's a good idea to look above and below for items that are a little bit cheaper. Another great way to save at the grocery store is to use the self-checkout lane. That way you can avoid those impulse buys at the last minute. And while you're checking and scanning your items, if something costs more than you really want to pay for, you can just put that aside and save money immediately.
Oh. I've heard that paying cash, especially at places like a grocery store or if you're going out to eat, can save you some money versus a credit card. Is that just because of interest rates?
Not just because of interest rates, because if you do carry a balance, you are paying extra fees on that. But studies have shown that people who pay cash tend to spend less overall. Plus, a lot of small businesses are facing higher credit card fees from the credit card companies. They're passing those fees onto their customers. So if you pay with cash, you won't have to incur those fees at all.
So do you think it's just the mentality of taking the green stuff out of your wallet and you see it going away versus just swiping?
Absolutely. It's so much easier. Credit is so much easier, but when you have to take your money and count out those 20s, put them on the table, you realize, wow, I'm spending a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Okay, so many of us have to make mortgage payments using credit cards, and any suggestions on how you can do that on some of those real big purchases or rent or mortgage?
Sure. This is a really great way and a smart way to make your money work harder for you. So pay half your monthly payment, mortgage payment, every 2 weeks. By the end of the year, you'll make an additional monthly payment. That goes directly to your principal, so you'll save on interest, and you'll likely pay off your loan faster. Even with this also works with credit cards. If you pay twice a month as opposed to just once a month, in the same amount of money, you're still saving money on interest because that first payment goes to the money that you owe.
I have a lot of friends who talk about the amazing effectiveness of racking up their points, their gas points by buying gift cards, and they're using Kroger or Meijer or other local, local facilitators. What's your advice there? Because it seems like you have to be very diligent if you're going to do things like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, points can be really advantageous. You can save a lot of money, you can get free gift cards, but they're only good if you use them. 25% of the people didn't use their points last year, and over time, they lose their value. So we recommend that you earn and burn.
Earn and burn. I love it. All right. David Brindley, Deputy Editor of the AARP Bulletin, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
All right, and so here's a look at the article that we actually have been talking about, 99 great ways to save money. You can find that over at aarp.org/99 ways to save. Read through it, see if you can find something new and some new ways to find some savings for you or your family budget. When we come back, much more of my wide-ranging conversation with the vice chairman of the Detroit Pistons. He's talking about the popularity of the WNBA as it returns to Detroit and why it's so much more than just Caitlin Clark. Welcome back, everybody. 9:18 here on Wednesday morning. A live look now over LCA. In just a few years, that place is going to be hosting the WNBA, women's professional basketball, back in the city of Detroit. The presentation and bid from the local ownership group led by Tom Goris convincing the WNBA that Detroit is a good city for expansion was a huge lift, but it worked. I talked to Arn Tellem, who was one of the key forces behind that presentation and bid. He's the vice chairman of the Detroit Pistons, and he said a big portion of this is the soaring popularity of the WNBA. Some people call it the Caitlin Clark effect, the swelling of popularity in women's basketball. But
it's much more than that. I love Caitlin.
Right? It's more than that.
I love Caitlin Clark. I mean, it is. Her coming into the league is sort of the combination of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson coming in to the NBA. But shortly thereafter, there was Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, all the great players that followed and continue to follow. And there's incredible players in the WNBA beyond Caitlin Clark, and there's incredible players coming in the pipeline. Women's college basketball is surging, just with the level of talent and interest. The television ratings.
They could beat some of the guys at this point.
No, and there's great interest. I mean, I watch the games. You really see team play and basketball sort of going back to the essence of basketball. Right. And there's just between the college basketball, it's also had with the pipeline of talent coming in, like Paige Beckers. There's just going to be Juju Watkins at SC now coming in the year from now. There's all these great players that are coming. That's going to continue. And it's a global sport. It's an Olympic sport. The best players are here from the United States. There's incredible players now coming from Europe to want to play here in the WNBA. The growth is unlimited.
What are your thoughts on a team name?
We haven't decided. We're sort of celebrating now. We're going to start to think about that and the process for how we're going to determine that now going forward.
Are the rights to Shock still available? Is that an option?
We're examining all those.
Yeah, the lawyers have to look into it, right? Yeah. What do you want the community to know about this bid and the process and what this means for Detroit's continued research?
Well, first off, this bid is for the people of this community. It's for our great fans, this wonderful city. To me, it's a validation of all the great things that are happening in the city, all this incredible transformation that's occurred here since its bankruptcy. The commitment of everyone that believe in it and are committed to making a better Detroit a reality and continue to work on it. Our mission, the job is not complete. So I think that's what it says. It's the WNBA, the NBA's belief in this city, this great American city. And I'm so happy, as I said it at the press conference, that Detroit and Cleveland and Philadelphia, three great historical American cities, won the bid over the hot and sexy cities in the South. I love the fact that Big Ten country prevailed over SEC and ACC country. I love that.
You were the one in that press conference yesterday that was jumping out of your chair and high-fiving. I think you had the most energy out of all of them.
You had to bring energy to me. It's a huge win. We're super excited, starting with Tom, myself, everyone at the Pistons organization, all of our partners that are investing in this team. We are super excited to bring this team back. And it's a great win. It's a great win for the city.
What would you like to say to the young girls who are watching and realizing that this is a reality and not just an investment in them, but hope that
I think sports inspires. I mean, we know the impact. I mean, I know the impact that sports had on my life. Not that I became a professional athlete. It's not about becoming a professional athlete. It's inspiring you to believe and dream big. And that's what this, to me, does for young girls here. This is going to serve them to show that anything is possible. Your dreams can be realized. It can be as a player, but it can be working for a sports team. It could be it's by playing sports and being fit and being part of a team. It can lead you on many paths in your career.
Last question for you. Your recruiting is going to probably start pretty soon to get some top talent onto this team. What do you say to these top-level female athletes about Detroit and why they want to come here?
If you were at the arena for our playoff game against the Knicks this year, I remember Ben Wallace and Rip Hamilton and Isaiah Thomas were telling me this was like 04, or when Isaiah played in 89 and 90, the energy in this place and bringing our community together. There is no city in the United States that loves its teams and that is as strong and tight a community as Detroit. It is a great place to live, to work and play, raise your family. There is no better city, and I think that's what this says.
That's right. I hope Sophie Cunningham is watching right now. I'll explain to you a little later. The full interview with Arn is on our website right now at clickondetroit.com. You can watch it there. We'll have on YouTube and, of course, Local 4 Plus here in a little bit. Let's take a live look over in Detroit right now. The chance for severe storms, minimal, but they do exist. Ash is going to tell you all about them and the popcorn, as she calls it, when we come back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, 925 on Wednesday morning. A live look now at Detroit, thanks to our friends over in Windsor. If you've seen bed bugs around your house recently, you are definitely not alone. Orkin released its annual list of the bed buggiest cities in the U.S., a list that includes Flint in 16th place. Grand Rapids is in 7th place. Detroit ranks 3rd in the U.S. All three Michigan cities are up from their previous ranks last year, which is not where we want to be. Orkin says the insects cling to items such as luggage, purses, and other personal belongings, traveling from place to place with ease. You can find the full list if you want to over at clickondetroit.com. I was kind of hoping some of the extreme heat would burn them away, but that didn't seem to work.
I feel like that just gives me like the willies. Like,
Is something crawling on you right now?
Oh, no. And to think that it clings on. I mean, have you ever? And I'm not necessarily saying Detroit, but have you ever been in a hotel where, like, a hotel room, and you're just like,
I'm not so sure about this.
I feel like we've all been there, right?
I know. After some of those investigations came out and they used the translucent paint and spray paint and markers, and like the next day I was still there. I'm like,
yeah, not great. I'm happy to see that so many hotels have gone away from the comforters, and it's like everything can be taken off. So that's at least in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right? All right, we digress. So let's go ahead and talk about the forecast. I'll tell you what, if you are going to be traveling by plane and maybe have a hotel reservation somewhere else, well, here's a live look at Metro Airport, where we do have the sun up above. It's a big travel week, and probably just as busy by car, if not even busier, at least here across lower Michigan. A lot of folks traveling up north. 73 degrees over at Metro, same in Pontiac, 75 in Grosse Ile, and 73 in Port Huron. So very comfortable morning. Now we will crank up the heat just a little bit, but seasonal. We're in the mid 80s this afternoon, maybe upper 80s in some spots, but a marginal risk for severe storms as we head into the later part of the afternoon and evening. And really some damaging wind gusts and heavy downpours would be the primary threat with how this potentially pans out. So let's take a look at the hour by hour, where you have a couple just scattered cells that develop, and that's mainly along and north of I-94. And I think it becomes maybe even a hair more robust late this evening into tonight up into the thumb region. So there are going to be some folks that don't see a drop of rain today. I really want to emphasize that. And then others that could get that quick heavy downpour. So otherwise, we do have a couple scattered rain and storm chances as we head into tomorrow evening. And that's mainly our southwestern communities. And then we're clearing things out for the 4th of July. So your afternoon planner, other than that isolated afternoon storm chance, we do have some sunshine, and we'll be into the 80s. Tonight with some clearing skies, we're back into the 60s. Open the windows, another really nice, comfortable night. Tomorrow, 87 for that afternoon high. So just about a degree warmer with a slight chance of that shower storm they showed you into the southwestern suburbs. 4th of July, close to 90 on the 4th, so above average day, but we will be in the low 90s for your Saturday and Sunday. And so it's going to be toasty, and the humidity's on the rise. And as we take a closer look at how this shakes out, I will stop the clock late Saturday, where you see just a smidge of green by Detroit. I think that's mostly humidity. Obviously, that bigger rainmaker to our west at that point, and overspreading the area once we get into Sunday evening. That keeps us in an active pattern as we head into your Monday. So let's go ahead and talk through the 7-day forecast. So we have those isolated chances the next 2 days. I just want you to be aware that you could get stuck in that, but don't scrap the outdoor plans over the next 2 days. You have a better chance of staying dry. Now, Friday, Independence Day, those parades and the firework displays all should be a go. It's just going to be hot. Stay hydrated. You'll certainly feel the humidity rising Friday, and definitely it's going to be that air you can wear this weekend. And with the heat and humidity clashing with the front, well, there you go. Storm chances Sunday evening, and we'll have off and on chances Monday, Tuesday, but at least we're falling into those mid 80s.
Yeah, I'm going to cross my fingers that what looked like the worst of it on the Futurecast kind of stays north of us, but you never know, right? Because it changes. Actually, you always know, but it changes all the time.
But right. I mean, when you have a cold front sweeping through, like, you watch that line and you can watch it go through Grand Rapids heading our way. We've talked about that before, but when you get those bubble up showers, there is a little bit of a guessing game. You know where the wide region of instability is, but you're like, where is it going to decide to just kind of
go?
It's like the whack-a-moles, right? Like, you never know exactly.
I love that game.
Yes.
Just put one right here.
There you go. They keep us entertained.
Actually, thank you so much. All right, let's take a live look outside. When we come back, a closer look at some of your local headlines. Also, did you watch Twin Flames on Netflix? The documentary focused on a Leelanau County couple and their online romance company. Now the state attorney general is launching an investigation. We're going to talk about that next.
right.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. 9:31 here on Wednesday morning. A company promising twin flame romance is being investigated after being featured on a next Netflix documentary. According to Michigan's Attorney General Dana Nessel, police searched 2 homes in Leelanau County where the Twin Flames Universe group is based. The group's website says it helps people find love and offers life coaching. The documentary painted a different picture when former members accused leaders of controlling them. Nessel is encouraging anyone who thinks they are a victim to contact her office. The group has not commented on the investigation. A man accused of trafficking a girl almost half his age has a hearing this afternoon. 32-year-old Robert Champion was charged after they identified a missing and endangered 17-year-old from Detroit. Detectives found her in the basement of an apartment complex in Troy back in April, believing she was a sex trafficking victim. She has since been reunited with her family. Champion has a probable cause conference that starts at 9:30, so any moment now, court should be getting going. The Malverdale City Council is meeting tonight, a month after it voted to hire a private investigator to look into the police department. This follows a lawsuit filed by Corporal Hassan Hammoud, a practicing Muslim who immigrated to America from Lebanon in 1995. His lawsuit lists several allegations of racism by fellow officers with no support from the administration. Tonight's meeting is happening at 7:30. Well, you will now have some more time to wait in line for popcorn and candy if you're going to see a movie at a major theater chain. You can see there, AMC is expanding the time ads that play before the movie starts. A pre-show that can last up to 30 minutes, according to their website. The move marks a 180-degree turn for AMC, which rebuffed more ads in 2019 as rivals Regal and Cinemark signed on with National Cinemedia. The deal throws a much-needed lifeline to AMC, which saw its worst first-quarter earnings since 1996 outside of the pandemic this year. So much more to come here in the next half hour. When we come back, we're taking a closer look at a Northville summer camp working to give teens with disabilities a chance to have great summer fun, make some friends, and learn some new skills. All that when we come back in just a moment. Hey, everybody, welcome back here to Local 4 Live. Let's take a look at the boards this morning. There's been a lot happening because of the instability throughout the area and what's happening with the Federal Reserve. A few moments ago, the board stock market opened the second half of 2025, stumbling out of the gate Tuesday amid a tech stock sell-off and turbulent days on Capitol Hill. The Dow gained 400 points, but the NASDAQ retreated 166 points. The S&P 500 remained flat, ticking back 6 points. You can see there, down about 0.25%. We'll see what happens here over the next 30 minutes while we're live here on Local 4 Live. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell telling CNN it would likely have lowered interest rates this year if it weren't for President Trump's significant policy changes. The Federal Reserve has not lowered interest rates at all this year, and experts at central banks or bankers expect Trump's tariffs to have some effect on the U.S. economy, and they have said they want to see how the dust settles first before resuming rate cuts. Well, this morning, a Detroit neighborhood is pushing back against a decision that could impact their green spaces and playground. People at the Mize condominium complex near Lafayette Park are saying Detroit Thermal wants to build a steam vent right in their community. The problem? Residents fear it may erase part of the area's history. Shantae Passmore explains how many are fighting back.
Hey there, Lafayette Park is rich in history, not just in the city of Detroit, but nationwide. Right now, there's a large fight brewing over what to do with this neighborhood treasure. One of just 10 National Historic Landmarks in the city of Detroit and the sole residential property with the designation, this is Lafayette Park. Could this undisturbed picturesque gem be a thing of the past? If you ask nearby residents, they say yes. Detroit Thermal has plans to construct a steam vent right in their area. The concern? They're worried about where the vent would be placed, right next to the playground. In April, we talked to some kids who often visit the park, protesting the idea of this project with a message to the adults.
We really care about this space and we want to be able to have it, and we want to be able to have it for the younger kids that come after us. This is a really important spot for us, and just please take our thoughts into consideration.
I feel like the kids enjoy it a lot, and we want it to stop. And the tree is the favorite climbing tree, and it could get ripped if we don't stop this.
Next, the independent Detroit Historic District Commission is expected to host a meeting at 4:30 p.m. to review the project at City Hall. And right now we're also hearing from Detroit Thermal. It released a statement which reads in part, the thorough HDC staff report concludes that the Detroit Thermal project minimizes impacts on the historic landscape of Lafayette Park and could present an opportunity to ensure the ongoing integrity and health of this important landscape. We believe this addresses the concerns raised by some of our Lafayette Park neighbors. Our hope is the HDC approves our application so we can complete the paused project in time for winter. Right now, it remains unclear whether the HDC will plan to approve this project. We're in Detroit this morning. I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
Shantae, thank you so much. As summer gets underway, many teens are looking for something to do and to stay out of trouble. Well, there's one Northville Summer Camp, the Living and Learning Enrichment Summer Camp, giving the chance to have some fun and safe summer fun to young adults with some different challenges. The center announced its lineup of 2025 summer camp activities for teens with disabilities. Teens will have the chance to not only have some fun, build connections, make friends, and a really supportive environment. So joining us now to talk more about the camp is the program director, Erica Maletti, and camper Bella Atwell. Thank you so much for coming in on Wednesday morning. I'm excited to have you. We call this the Nook, kind of in the corner.
Awesome. We're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Okay, so Erica, can you just give me an outline of what the camp is like and what it's all about?
Absolutely. So we are a camp for individuals with disabilities. We start at age 11 and we go all the way up into our oldest camper is in their 30s.
Okay.
So we do a variety of different activities every single day, from cooking to social skills lessons to different group activity games. We go on field trips. We bring things to our campus. We keep our campers very busy.
You sound busy.
We're busy.
Yeah. Now, Bella,
Yeah.
you're a camper there, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been camping?
For 5 years now.
Oh, so 5 years. Okay, so you're an expert then. What is it like? I mean, I just imagine it must be a really great environment.
Okay, so every morning we do like a daily check-in with our counselors, and we do like what's called the 5-finger rule.
Okay.
And so basically this demonstrates like the 5 rules that basically demonstrate the camp.
Okay. How long have you been doing this, Erica?
This is my second summer overseeing our camp and our programs as well.
And how long has the camp been around?
Since 2016. So
Okay.
next year we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary
years, awesome.
of summer camp. But this year we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary as an organization in general. Yeah.
It must be an incredible environment to have
It is.
something like this that is built specifically for young kids, for young adults who are just, have different capabilities.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's super special. We have really great staff. Our staff are passionate. Our staff are excited to be there. Our staff make this camp possible. And I think, Bella, you would agree that we have some pretty awesome counselors that make the experience really
Some
exciting.
awesome people there.
Yeah.
Bella, what's it like for you to be in an environment that is just so welcoming and so loving?
I usually just hang out with friends like every day in camp,
Yeah.
and after that, we usually, get to do some outdoor activities that's outside of camp.
Mhm.
So we can visit the animals every day, and
There's animals?
yeah, there is animals.
Oh, I
There's
forgot to-
alpacas, chickens,
You've got
bunnies.
alpacas?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that. Right? Yeah.
You might have
Yeah.
buried the lead there, Erica.
Yeah, I know.
Bella,
I do.
how often do you make new friends? It sounds like you're probably making friends all the time.
Not as often. Sometimes if there's new faces, then I'm a little shy of getting to know people at
Okay.
first, but as long as it's a friendly greeting, then
Sure.
I'll be more than happy
Sure.
to make more new friends.
And Erica, I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that when you have an environment that is specifically, designed to help, folks like Bella, it must be so great to see them in that environment where there is no judgment, there are no stigmas.
Absolutely.
You're just you're being yourself.
Absolutely. Yep. That is the environment that we really try to cultivate at camp and just at living and learning in general. We have a lot of campers that are repeat campers, campers that have been coming for 8, 9 years. Bella's a 5th-year camper. So it's exciting to see these campers come back year after year. And, it's like they pick up like they never left off.
Sure.
And they're reconnecting, and they're excited to see each other again.
So is this an overnight thing? Are we kind of coming every day back and forth? How's it work?
Yeah, so we're a day camp. We start at 9:30 and we go until 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Monday through Thursday. Some weeks we do go Monday through Friday. We know parents still work on Fridays,
Yep,
and so we
sure.
like to
We
give
don't
some
want to,
extra,
but-
right, some extra opportunity for parents to send their campers on a Friday. But most of the summer we run Monday through Thursday.
Okay, and then I know that you have multiple days and multiple different programs depending on the week. So if somebody's interested and they want to learn more information, maybe have their kid or friend go there, what's the best way to get the information?
Absolutely. I would definitely say check out our website. To get started, there is a tab for summer camp.
What's the website?
Livingandlearningcenter.org.
Okay.
Yep, and then you'll click on our summer camp tab, scroll down, you'll see the way to get started. Any new camper with us, we just require an intake.
Oh, sure.
Super informal conversation. And then from there, if you're good to go, you're ready to enroll in camp.
Awesome. Now, are there costs involved?
For summer camp?
Yes.
Yep. So our costs range, depending on what camp group you're in, between $525 a week to $650
Which
a
is
week.
very reasonable for camp because
Yeah.
they can be outrageously expensive sometimes.
And that includes field trips as well.
Oh.
Sometimes when we do cooking activities or different things that come on campus, all those costs
Okay.
are included in the camp
Bella, one
cost.
last question for you. If there's somebody at home watching this right now and they're thinking, maybe I want to go there, what do you tell them?
I would say just be yourself. Honestly, if people sometimes give you this harsh judgment, which there's no judgment at camp
Right.
because everybody is expressive in their own ways, I would just say, just be yourself, be who you are, and express to the world what are your strengths and weaknesses? What
Oh,
are your true colors?
I love that. And you might find them at camp. Very cool. Erica, Bella, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting both of you.
Too. Thank you.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk more about what's happening throughout Detroit and a live look over at Michigan State University's campus. They're looking at major budget cuts coming to MSU. We'll explain what they are in just a moment. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. The Detroit Fire Marshal continues to investigate what exactly happened at Monday's industrial fire on Detroit's east side. The company, Aveda Specialty Services, sealed all sewers and is removing all the leaked oils. Now, the EPA and the state environment officials from Eagle are monitoring that site. Nobody was hurt except for one firefighter hurt his back. He is expected to be okay. Michigan State University is announcing staff cuts and possible voluntary buyouts as it works to balance its budget. MSU plans to reduce general fund spending by 9% over the next 2 years. Departments are set to notify employees about the changes this month. The university's president says protecting student services is a top priority, but warns workforce reductions are unavoidable. Officials point to rising healthcare costs, inflation, and potential cuts to federal research funding as key factors straining the university's finances. A live look over Detroit here in just a moment. When we come back, we're going to highlight a major milestone for ride sharing in the city and how a program is helping caregivers. Let's take a live look over Detroit right now. The city is celebrating after their Rides to Care program has now given out over 10,000 free rides to caregivers. The program offers free transportation to all medical visits for a year after a baby is born. That includes prenatal, postpartum, and baby's doctor's appointments. You can book a ride up to an hour before your visit or even a week ahead. To schedule, just call the number on the screen there. It's 313-876-0000. I guess when you're in the city, you can get cool phone numbers like that. Also, be ready to share your contact info and doctor's address. Ashley Barrissey in the Nook, and she is so important. She has 2 microphones.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? No excuse.
Nope.
You need to listen to this forecast.
All right, whatever you say.
We just want to make sure folks are prepared for one, a great day, but two, that just little chance that you can get it down for. So just pack the umbrella in the back of the car if you're going to be out at a park later today with the kids. Maybe there's, summer baseball or different kinds of outdoor leagues going on. You want to have that umbrella nearby just in case. But right now, blue skies. And so Mount Clemens reporting 76 degrees. Metro Airport at 73. Same in Ann Arbor and Monroe, 77 degrees. We'll continue to warm things up in the 80s today. But there is just that marginal level 1 risk of any of these pop-ups to become severe. So the major threats on the table today would be some gusty winds and some isolated downpours. We call those microbursts, downbursts that'll happen. And so that's the potential. Late afternoon, evening. If you want me to be a little more specific, I would say about 4 to 9 p.m. would be that window if we were to see something severe. And then we have another chance for some severe pop-ups tomorrow to our southwest. And so here you go. This afternoon, you start to see just a couple of those cells that will develop. If you're along in south of I-94, I think you completely dodge it. And if you look this evening around 10, it looks like it's going to be more prominent into the thumb region. So certainly the farther north you go, the better chance that you'll see some of those showers. And then a few scattered variety showers into the evening tomorrow, closer to the dinner hour. And that's going to be a little more impactful from like Livingston Livingston County, Washtenaw County, maybe that western edge of Wayne County onto the southwest. And so very hit or miss depending on where you'll be later today, but we'll be at 86 for the afternoon high, and we do get plenty of sunshine. So, I mean, even though if you see a few of those clouds develop ahead of a pop-up, I mean, we will get a good dose of sun. 66 tonight, mostly clear skies, less humid, so we're going to open the windows once again, or if you'd like, but tomorrow 87.
Or if you remember.
Or if you remember, keep rubbing it in. Hey, I got mom brain. 87 tomorrow, so slight chance for that pop-up into the evening. Otherwise, a drier 4th on tap. We're close to 90, likely getting into the 90s Saturday and possibly again Sunday before we have a front coming in, triggering some storms later in the evening. But with that heat will come humidity, so you'll start to feel that humidity building in on Independence Day, and then we'll hold on to it through the weekend. Now, we do have some storm chances, like I said, with a line as we head into the later part of Sunday evening going into Monday. And that'll start an active pattern for the early part of next week. So here's a look at that full forecast for you. Upper 80s through the 4th, even though I think some areas possibly hit 90. We get a couple of days in those 90s, but the showers and storms will cool us back off. Not drastically, but back into seasonal territory, mid-80s.
How do I get 2 microphones? I'm going to show up with 3 next time just to one-up you. Jump all over the place.
Have them from like every direction. Yeah. I don't know. I just show up and things appear.
Yep, that's how important she is. When we come back, we're going to take a look at your submissions, our My Pick of the Day, and what's happening today on Live in the D. When we come back, a live look over the Detroit River and a look at Windsor. We'll be right back. All right, the mantra here on Local 4 Live is you send it, we show it. At least most things. Keep it classy, Detroit. That's how it works for our My Picks of the day. Today's My Pick is from Rob, showing not only Walled Lake, but a beautiful sunset. Also, check this one out from Karen Chittister. I hope I pronounced that right, Karen, with a beautiful cloud shot there in Livonia. And finally, Bill took this shot of the moon on Sunday. Oh, that's very pretty. Remember, anybody can submit photos just like these under the My Picks tab over on clickondetroit.com. A lot more coming up throughout the day here on Local 4 Plus. Here's what the Live in the D team was working on for later.
Today on Live in the D, looking to level up your backyard vibes this summer, we'll show you how to add comfort, style, and personality to your patio, and how it can turn your outdoor space into the ultimate entertaining hotspot. Plus, it's one of several festivals happening this 4th of July weekend. From the food, to the drinks, to the music, everything you need to know about Royal Oaks Taco Fest, and how one man's career pivot is helping Detroit. It's all coming up today on Live in the D at 11 a.m.
So I'm confused. Kim gets tacos and decides not to come in studio today. I understand. I'll keep that in mind, Kim. Don't you worry. Thank you for joining us here on Local 4 Live. More news and weather ahead on Local 4 Plus and always live at clickondetroit.com. We're going to leave you with the look over the Detroit River again. Make it a great Wednesday, everybody.